Hey everyone, it's part two. I'm back. I had to go to practice, band practice. If you want to hear some of the music I play, I'm in two bands. The Magnolia Steel Band, we're on YouTube, and Rick and Lisa Experience, we're on YouTube. Check out those two bands. I'm going to finish this up now. If you missed part one, go back and watch it. You'll see what I used the burnt umber and yellow ochre as an underpaint. That's what this is down here. Then I painted over all of it. Then you get the undertone shows through in some places. But let's go ahead and finish. These mountains came out great, by the way. You need to go watch part one and see how I did these mountains. Look how cool those look. So I saved my palette. It's been like 3 hours. I just put the palette in a container and it keeps the paint wet for me so I could come back and finish it. This also gives you time to look at it, and like if you're not used to seeing things like in the hill here, I'll take a little darker paint here and I'll kind of show you what I see here. I can see maybe there's like a hill here, the top of a hill right in here, and then maybe one right in here, and then of course that one up there. So what I think I'll end up doing, I'll end up putting trees there. And then I see a little shady area out here. I'm not going to do much on this one. I'll probably run some dark trees back on the very back edge there. Very small trees back there. But let me show you on the water what I see. If you're not used to water, this is not even, right? Like this goes up over here and back down. So I'm going to edge it right now with white. Little titanium white. It's the same way I put the snow on the mountains up there. You just get a roll on there. And keep your knife straight. Like right here, this is straight and go straight out with the white. And then this is a little higher here. And this is higher. Okay. And then over here, this is up higher. So you got to edge it up higher. And then you follow the edge of the land and then put the white, keep the knife straight. And then there you go. You got the, see how it's, looks like it's coming down now. That's how you do the water. We'll put some more water down in here in a little bit. I just wanted to show you that, the hills, what I'm seeing in here. And this is probably going to end up getting covered with some big trees, so I'm not worried about this hill. This is just background color for now. So let me put another color down here. I think I'm going to use I want to use a green. I just don't know how much. Maybe with a path, a dirt path coming down from here, and some green grass on either side of it. So I think I'm going to lay in a pathway right now with my knife with dark burnt umber. Some of the paint kind of got dry on me, but I can lay it down more paint if I need to. I'm going to kind of put some kind of a pathway here coming from the water. Could even use a brush, I guess. So I'm going to have a pathway coming down like this. So I'm going to put some green grass in here now. I just wanted to show you what I'm going to end up doing. And then I'll have trees over here and over here. So I got some more sap green here. I'm going to mix some, I'll mix some white in it this time. I'll show you the difference. There's a lot of different ways you can mix your green, okay? This is sap green right out of the tube. Put a little white in it, and I'll show you. You'll get a different color than with yellow. It just turns it like a light green. This is the green we got with the yellow up here, remember? Now this is the same green with white in it. So let's just put that down here and see what we get. I got a wet brush here, and what I'm going to do is kind of lay it in very lightly and try and leave some of the brown underneath showing through. You can wet your brush just a little. Just get a little bit of water on your brush, and let's lightly put this green in, and we're going to leave some of the undertone showing through. Sap green with white in it. Still kind of, this is still like blocking it in. We're blocking in the color still, because we're still going to have a lot of things on top of here, bushes and grass and stuff. So I'm going to try and leave some of this golden color in there underneath. So there we go. That's going to end up being grass down there. Look at that. I gotta decide what fan brush to use here. I guess I'm gonna use an oil fan brush I bought from Dick Blick's. It's for acrylic and oil, okay? It's a number 2. Let me make sure I'm running here. I do have something in the oven, so I'm going to have to eventually go shut the stove off. I bought some Stouffer's chicken enchiladas, yeah, for tonight. So originally I mixed sap green with my black. That's what I use for my evergreen trees. But I want to use a little bit of it for the trees way in the back. So I'm going to mix that with the green we used up here on the grass and darken it up just a little for the trees way in the distance. Just about like that. So the trees way in the back aren't going to be as dark as the ones I'm going to put up front here. So I kind of lightened it up a little. You could also just take that and put some white in it if you wanted to. Now let's grab our number 2 fan brush. Now we're going to put some trees back here with this color. You don't need to wet it now. You don't need to wet your brush anymore because we want to lay the paint on top. So let me start over here with some trees. I don't want to put any here because I know I'm going to have a big tree on the side here coming from some bushes here. So I'm going to just put some trees right about here, about that far. And with the brush at the bottom, pull that color to the right. Just like that. Those are going to be distant trees. Now let's do another row here. I'm going to wet my brush just a little. And we're going to have some trees here. And keep in mind, we don't want them too big yet. We want these to look far away. Pull the bottom to the right just a little. Very good. Let's put some distant trees in the back now. Same way on the top of the hill. Very small back here though. I'm just touching the brush on the canvas and kind of just laying the paint on top. Just like that. Now at the bottom, pull the bottom one way or the other. Kind of standing in a funny spot there. Alright, so there's our trees. I'm going to lighten up the ones in the back so they stand out a little more. So I'm just going to put a little white on my fan brush, just a little white, and I'm going to put white on those trees in the back there. Just so they stand out from the ones up front here. I need to come around to this side over here. It's hard for me to stand right here. Alright. Let's see, let's put some bushes down here now. I'm going to put some bushes on the river's edge here. And I'm going to run a tree up here. So I'm going to use the dark, this is sap green with some black in it. Let's put a few bushes down here. Just stamp it in with this fan brush. Some bush tops. These are good for making bushes, these brushes. Now wet your brush a little. I'm probably going to change brushes here because this one's really not working good for me. And let's pull the bottom to the right underneath those bushes. Alright, let's run some trees over here. I'm going to get a different brush for that. I'm going to use an oil fan brush, a number 4, and run a tree over here on the side. I shouldn't use this one, it's kind of thick. It'll be a fat tree, and I want to make a skinny tree, so I'm going to have to use an acrylic fan brush. Which I don't like using because this is what happens to an acrylic fan brush. See that? And then you can't use the corner because it separates. Here's a Princeton one, but it's kind of big. I'm going to use the Princeton. I've used this one before, and I think the bristles hold up pretty good. So I'm going to load it up with this dark color. Kind of wiggle your brush in there, and it'll make the bristles come together. Okay. Looks like it has one bad end, so let's put a tree trunk in here. Right in between those two small mountains there. All the way down. Now, I'm going to use the corner of the brush to put the leaves on this evergreen tree. And all you got to do is touch it. Touch the painting. And stay small up top here. And then get bigger as you come down, okay? You know what an evergreen tree looks like. Just come down slowly and put the leaves on. And as you come down, you're going to just go out wider and wider. Okay, longer and longer. Just have them come straight out, the branches. Use the corner of the brush. And I could have probably used the oil brush. Now what I like to do is fill in just this middle part right here with color to make the tree look fatter in the middle. Just like that. And then I'm going to highlight it. Look at that. I didn't mean to cover the mountain there. I put too much, but that's okay. I'm going to find another brush. Here's a number 4 oil brush that I think I've had luck with, so I'm going to try that one. And I'm going to put another tree right next to it. Just load up the fan brush again. Wiggle the bristles in it. And let's put one right next to it. Right next to it. Stay small up here so we don't cover the mountain. Yeah, see, this brush works a lot better. It fills it in and makes the branches a little fatter. See that? it's okay to use some oil, the oil brushes on acrylic, okay? You just can't use acrylic brushes with oil paint because the oil's too thick, you know. All right, there we go. We got a couple trees there on the water's edge. I'll let that dry for a second, then I'll highlight it. We could do the bushes down here if you want. I'm going to do this so it looks kind of real, like nature. So I'm going to highlight these bushes down here. What I'm going to do is we'll take some of this green here and we'll add some more white to it. Make it really like a light green. Almost like a lime green. And we're going to use maybe this color for the bushes. And maybe some blue for the bushes. I don't know. So load up your fan brush. You don't have to have a lot of paint on. Maybe just stamp into the color like this. And we're going to just touch. We're going to design some bushes here, okay? So with the corner of the brush, just touch the top of the bush and bring it down and leave the bottom dark, okay? Let's put a bush here. We're just putting color on the top part of the bush. And tap very lightly. I'm going to put a different color in here. Different color bush. Let's put some bushes down low here now. And then we'll put some different color bushes on top. Don't those look cool? You got to leave some of the color dark underneath because that's where the shade is, okay? So now rinse your brush off and we're going to grab some of that yellow ochre. This yellow ochre right here, the darker one that we used to highlight or put the underpaint on with. And let's put in you don't need much paint, remember, and all you got to do is barely tap. You just barely got to touch the painting with the color. Just barely touch it. Let's do one over here. Just barely touch it. You could put a brown bush down there if you want. It's probably too dark, but that's all right. I didn't want it to be bright. So now for these trees, I think they're dry enough now. We're going to add a little, we're going to take that dark color right here, a little of it, and put a little white in it. And we're going to use that to highlight the evergreen trees. So just load up your fan brush again with that. It's a greenish gray color. We'll put this one in front. I'm going to highlight just the right side of this tree. Barely touching it, okay? On the top part of the branches. Let's do this big one. Try and hit just the top part of the branch and leave the bottom part dark. And barely let the brush touch the canvas, okay? With small touches. It's going to create more branches, and it's going to look, the tree will look like it has more branches, okay? Just barely got to touch it. But look at that. Don't those trees look cool now? It gave the tree dimension, and it put a shadow on one side. Some of these branches, if they're out far enough, you can hit a little color on these ones that are further around. But leave this one side dark, okay, with the shadow. That looks pretty good. I really like that. Wish I had this green color. I already used it all up. I'm gonna move the camera real quick so I can get on the left. I'm gonna fix these trees because I put too much dark underneath. So what I'm gonna do is lighten up underneath the trees there to make the trees look smaller. Just like that. There we go. Much better. That's how you work your painting. Just keep working it till you get what you like. But look at those trees. Wow. I'm looking in the camera right now at those bushes and those two trees. And that looks amazing. The contrast of these trees on the mountain and the sky and this green back here and the water. Doesn't that look cool? Man, that is amazing. And now I'm almost seeing like this is a hill now back here coming down. This is turning out pretty good. Let me see what I'm gonna have to leave in a little bit to shut the oven off, but wow, we're making some headway here. I'm gonna do man, could almost I gotta figure out what I'm gonna put down here now, because you could almost ended this painting like right here. It would have been perfect. So, but we got more land to work with, so we're gonna have to deal with it. I gotta move this a little more. All right, so I got room to get in here now. So I'm going to put some bushes down here so we can get it done. I'm going to use this dark sap green that I got here with the big bristle brush, number 12 bristle, and just stamp the color in the brush. And let's create some bushes here. There's the alarm. Let me make the bushes, then I gotta go shut the oven off. So maybe these bushes are gonna come, because I want the pathway to come down here. So we'll put some bushes right on the edge of the pathway. So I'm going to have a pathway coming down here, and these are going to be on the edge of the pathway, okay? So we'll keep the bushes small over here, and then get larger over here. Just like that. Take your brush now and pull the bottom of the bushes to the right. Just like that. Okay, I'll be right back. Gotta shut the oven off. Those look pretty cool, those bushes. Alright, the oven's off. There we go. So now we're just going to put a couple trees over here now. So I'm making up some more sap green with black in it for the trees. I ran out of dark color. I think after this I'm off tomorrow, so I don't have to go to bed early. I'm going to do another live. I did an abstract landscape the other day, and I put it on Twitter, and the people are loving it on Twitter. So I think I'm going to do another abstract landscape. I think you're going to like it. If you haven't seen the one I did, it's kind of cool. It gets you a good practice with your knife, because I do a lot of knife work in the abstract landscape, and it's pretty fun. All right, let's do some more trees. I got some dark green mixed up here. It's almost not. Hopefully it's dark enough, but we'll see. Yeah, I was trying to find the fan brush I used. Okay, let's do some trees. I'm going to try and make them a little looser, so they look a little different than those, but basically I want them the same. I want to have a tall one, taller than this, because this is in the foreground. So I'm going to come right on the left of that peak, and make a big tree, okay? I'm not going to cover the mountain, don't worry. I'm going to keep it small up here and make the branches small and wider. There we go. Something like that. Kind of standing in a funny spot here. Since it's on the edge here, you can just fill in most of this on the left here. I like to fill in the middle. When I'm done bringing it down right in here, just to make it fatter. Makes it easier to highlight too. And I try and bring these out a little further on the bottom. Look at that. I wanted this tree to be big and not cover up the mountains, so that looks pretty good. Looks really good. Now we'll have some bushes in front of it here to highlight. These will be fun to highlight. Look at the color down there. How cool that green looks now with the brown underneath it. Man, that looks wicked. I'm going to highlight the bushes and then I'll highlight that. I'm going to use the lighter yellow ochre now. I'm going to use this brush to highlight. It's called a stencil brush. It's a 1-inch stencil brush, and you can touch the you get more bristles you can touch with. So I'm going to use this yellow ochre here. That's all dried up. Thought I was going to use that. There we go. Got some color underneath there. Alright, so I'm going to just punch my stencil brush in the color. Let's do this bush right here first. I'm barely touching the canvas because I want the dark to show through as well. See that bush that I made there? You see it? Now, when you do bushes, you got to imagine how you want your bush to look, okay? Because right here, there's no bush, right? So, what we're going to do, what's a good way to explain this? So, what I like to do, I'm right about in here, I'm going to create a bush right up here next to that one. So what I'll do is I'll start on the side here and touch up high like that. Get some more paint and barely touch it and bring it down. And leave the dark at the bottom, okay? So there's another bush. It almost looks like the first one I made. So let's grab some more paint. Let's put a little yellow in it now. So it's a different type of yellow. And let's make a bush going straight up the side here. Okay? And just barely touch the bottom. barely touch it, and leave some of the bottom like that. There we go. We got a couple, we got two bushes here and one on the side here. Doesn't that look cool? And we'll use green now for these. Here's some green. Just stamp right into the green. Don't even wipe the yellow ochre off. And let's create some green bushes in here. Just by hitting the top part. And we can maybe make these other ones yellow. Let's stamp right into the yellow. And we'll make some of these bright yellow. Maybe we could throw a yellow one in right here. Behind the yellow ochre. See that? Just have fun with your bushes. But the main idea is to barely touch it so you can leave some of the color underneath, okay? That's all you got to do. Let's highlight that big tree now. The same way, we're going to take the dark color, some of the dark color, and add a little white to it. Because I like to use the same color I used for the tree, so it kind of matches. And then barely, you just got to barely put paint on your fan brush, okay? I don't know if that's going to be light enough, but we'll see. And I'm just hitting the top part. When I say the top part of the branch, I'm leaving the bottom of it dark. See, I'm hitting the top part of the big branches, barely touching it. And when you come down the middle, just touch it like very small branches in there like this. Just like that. Look at that. That looks pretty good. We're going to leave this side dark because the sun's not getting around this back side, right? Wow, that's looking pretty good, guys. I like the way the bushes came out. I'm pulling the stencil brush back out to get a little more yellow, and I want to maybe put some sunlight on some of the yellow ochre here in a few places. And I'm not pushing in. Don't push into the paint because it won't look right. Just let the paint rest on top, okay? Just touch it with the brush, and don't push it in. It's like putting on this water. See how it's just laying on top of the color? That's what we're doing here. And here, when I highlight these trees, it's like it's the last color, so you want to lay it on top. You don't want to smear it, okay? That's what I'm trying to say. But look at those bushes. They're looking awesome. Now, we should add another color to these green ones. Let's try and add a little yellow. Let's see if it works. Just add a little yellow to these green bushes there. Yeah, that'll work. So it doesn't look like they're all just like the same color. Okay. This looks pretty good in here. If this was an oil painting, you take your knife and scratch in some branches here, but it doesn't work for acrylic. So what you got to do is use a liner brush, okay? Use a liner brush and get it wet and grab some titanium white. You just gotta get this white to run like ink, okay? Really wet white. My liner brush isn't too good, but I'm just going to show you anyway how to do it. And you can make some branches in these bushes. Very small stems bring up into the bushes like this. I know it takes time. You got to really make them really small, but it'll help them look more like bushes, okay? I usually do this after I shut the camera off, but I wanted to show you. I wanted to show you how I do it sometimes, okay? And don't make these fat. You got to make them really skinny, so that's why you got to get your brush pretty wet. Get the paint pretty wet and make sure your brush is working right before you do it. And just pull up some stems underneath the bushes. Very skinny and very small, okay? I'm probably talking too much now, but you can kind of see what it's going to look like when it's done. Very good. I like that. And then don't forget, you can also run white stems out here. Okay? White branches and stuff going all different directions, okay? Take your time with those branches and go really make sure they're really skinny and make some different types of twigs. See? I don't like to do it on the video because, I mean, it's probably boring to you to watch me make twigs, but that's how I'll do it when I shut it off. This looking pretty good. So what I'd probably do to end this one, I'm going to take my bristle brush again and take some of this dark green again. It's kind of, my brush is wet, but I'm going to make another bush in this corner. Just a bush here. It's really wet. I should have dried it off. But put a bush here and I'll highlight it when it dries. And then we'll kind of have a pathway in there, okay? Sorry, I'm losing track of all my brushes. I'm using so many brushes today because none of them were working right. Now we can put some stuff out in here. Uh, I wanted to show you a trick. I'm really making a mess today. So grab a soft, this is a soft acrylic brush. It's a filbert brush. This is the one, I use this quite a bit in this painting. So I cleaned it. Now what I want to do is glaze this area with yellow. And I want to show you what you can do when you're at this point of your painting on a landscape. Grab a little bit of yellow on your brush. Doesn't have to be a lot. Okay. Just a little, and then let's glaze some of this color down here with yellow. Wet your brush in the water, and you got to get it to run like water. There we go. And just glaze over some of this down here with yellow. It's a pretty cool trick, and you can glaze this up here a little. Maybe the sunlight's hitting right there. Very good. I think this one's turning out pretty good. There's a lot more I'm going to do to it, but I'm going to have dinner here in a little bit. So let me highlight these bushes for you. And then I'm going to put a few birds up there, and I'll probably finish the video. And I'll post the final image on the community page. A lot of my paintings, you can go to the community page and you'll see the final product. I really like the yellow ochre with the yellow highlight, so I'm going to use the yellow ochre again. Yellow ochre. And then I'll highlight it with yellow. So barely touch the painting. Barely touch it. Leave the bottom dark. Now I'm going to grab some yellow, and we'll say the light's hitting maybe on the right side of these bushes. Just on the right side. There we go. Let's try and mix a little red. I got a little red here. Wow, that hardened up. Let's mix a little red with that and make it like orangey. Put some orange flowers in there. Change it up a little bit. There we go. Something different. Alright guys, I think I'm going to end the video. I really like it. I really like it. Let's put a few birds up here. tomorrow I'm off. I gotta go buy a new, look at that brush. I need to go buy a new liner brush. Because I can't paint without putting birds up here. It's like, I gotta have birds in the scene. Alright. Well, hopefully you picked up some ideas from this. And if you're a beginner, hopefully this gave you some encouragement. To give it a try. Look at that scene, man. It's really not that hard of a scene. I think anybody can do this. So, yeah, this is, if you're just joining in, this is part 2. So you could go back and watch part 1 and see how I got to this point. But man, look at these bushes, came out great today. I like the way the bushes ended up down there with the different colors and the twigs. The twigs down there, pretty good. Pretty happy with it. I didn't really do much in the sky, but I mean, it looks good. I'll probably do a few things up in the sky. I'll probably do a few things with the water still too. Run some more white wash in here, that white water. You'll see the final one on the community page. Thanks for watching, everybody. I got some chicken enchiladas I got to take out of the oven, so I'm going to have dinner. I'm going to do another live here in about 20 minutes because I'm off tomorrow. And I'm going to do an abstract landscape, so check back in with me in about 20 minutes. All right. Cheers.